Welcome to a brand new episode of the Fight Lounge. I'm your host, RJ Meads. On this episode, I will give my predictions and on who I think should be scheduled to fight on the next YouTube boxing event, which will be KSI versus Logan Paul 2. Again, this is just all, predictions slash guessing slash fights that I hope, will happen. I have no insider sources or information, but this is just, since there's no news or any update when the actual boxing event will happen, if it will ever happen, it's just something to do in the meantime. The first one is the easiest, which would be the main event, which would be KSI versus Logan Paul 2. For those of you who don't know, their first fight ended in a draw. It's very controversial. If you go back and watch it, it's either a draw or KSI won 4 rounds to Logan Paul's 2. Logan Paul did not win that fight. He either won 3 rounds or he only won 2 rounds. And so one difference is this will be in America because the last fight was in overseas in London. KSI has talked about moving past Logan Paul and possibly fighting his brother Jake Paul. But to do that, I really believe that he will have to defeat Logan Paul. Or if he wins by points, I could see him fighting, Jake Paul. But if he gets knocked out, I don't see it happening. Speaking of Jake Paul, he's actually the next fight that I'm going to talk about. Again, this is prediction slash guess, and it's actually a Jake Paul versus Soulja Boy fight. Now, Jake Paul called out numerous people trying to have a big name opponent at the next YouTube boxing event. Anesongib called out Jake Paul, but Jake said he wants a big fight. Say what you will about Deji, but he did have 9 million subscribers, when they fought. So pretty big deal. And Soulja Boy, he literally was the first original YouTuber. How you see all these YouTubers now having vlogs and promoting music. Soulja Boy did that first. So this could literally be the old school versus the new school, since Jake Paul, he's one of the top YouTubers in the game right now. And again, in one of Jake Paul's vlog, he actually pull up on Soulja Boy. He went up to his house and confronted him about the fight. And I give him credit for that. A lot of people just talk the talk, but he went to Soulja Boy's house and confronted him about it. As of this recording, Soulja Boy should be released from jail. Prison, one of them. He violated his parole. I believe they found a handgun on him. And since now Soulja Boy is a free man, this fight is a lot more likely to happen versus, when he was in prison or in jail, there was a 0% chance of it happening. Now there's a chance. Being locked up, I'm sure Soulja Boy missed out on some shows, on some business opportunities. So him fighting Jake Paul financially could be, a W, even if he loses or get knocked out by Jake Paul. That's a fight I want to see for numerous reasons. It would be a attraction fight, kind of like McGregor and Mayweather. That was an attraction fight. We knew McGregor didn't have the skill like Floyd, but what if? That's a big thing about YouTube boxing, period. There's a big what if factor. And having Soulja Boy fight Jake Paul will be a what if. What if Soulja Boy comes out skillful? What if he comes out powerful? He still haven't seen his appearance post leaving jail. What if he get big and swole in jail? He could be the bigger guy. Another prediction and slash guess that I want to happen at the next YouTube card or KSI versus Logan Paul 2 card. I would like to see one of the sidemen fight other than KSI. I know there was rumors back when KSI and Henry, the Simon, was beefing. KSI almost fought Harry. And if you know Fidel Riley, who is KSI's trainer, he said Harry is like very strong. He's like a naturally strong guy. So I would like to see Harry. If not Harry, Ethan, he used to be the chubby guy, but now he's a fit guy. He's strong. He's in shape. I think he could surprise some people if Harry do in fact fight, or Ethan. I like to see him fight an American YouTuber, with the next event being in America. I would like kind of like a USA versus UK theme card. Now every single fight don't have to be America versus overseas, understand that. But it'd just be fun to have a couple like that, Like I said, I want Harry or Ethan of the Simon to fight either one or both. The next person is Deji. Originally, before he started beefing with Randolph and KSI, originally he was supposed to fight As Wasabi. And he was training, and he even mentioned it in several videos that he wanted to fight As Wasabi. They have history going way back. And that could work for a US versus UK theme fight. This would be an entertaining fight for several reasons. Wasabi will be the taller fighter. He will have a reach advantage, just like Jake Paul did. Only difference is Wasabi isn't as strong, or don't have the same build up as Jake Paul. So I don't think Wasabi will have the strength advantage, And again, even though Deji didn't take the training seriously, he does have like a little bit more experience, Fortunately though, we don't know how Deji's mental state is. Like, as people know, he and Kayla has been going at it over months. And he was originally would camp with their rally, and then he left there when he got kicked out of Simon House. So where would Deji train at? So, but I think that would be a very, very entertaining fight, and I think it would fit perfectly on the undercard of the KSI versus Logan Paul too. Some people would like to see Joe Weller make a return to YouTube boxing, but he himself has said that he has retired from it. I think after the KSI fight, and then when he randomly showed up at Jake Paul's backyard and fought him, and he lost 2 fights in a row and got knocked out both. I just think he isn't that good. The only person, and again, since I'm just throwing it out there, since that this isn't to be taken seriously, this is just for fun. Why not Weller versus is it Scarce? Yes, that would be Joe Weller versus Scarce. The criticism for both those guys is they never threw a punch. Scarce just repeatedly took damage from Racka without even throwing punch. For those of you who don't know, he fought one of the racka twins, and for Weller, he fought KSI and Jake Paul. He just didn't throw punch. He just didn't throw any punches or enough punches. And Scarce has said he wants to fight again. He doesn't want to end on a bad fight like he did. Like, he got messed up pretty bad. I think he had a broken nose. I think he had to have surgery on his mouth or something like that. So he got messed up pretty good. And again, when people hear it, they're like, "What? Why Weller versus Scarce?" Hey, somebody has to throw a punch in that fight. Somebody has to. Weller has much more experience. I can tell you, he has underconfidence. And for Scarce, as we know, Dude's tough. Dude can take a beating. And it just be fun. Weller, the jacked up muscle guy, versus Scarce, the taller guy. He'll have the reach. I think it'd be a fun little fight. Speaking of the racka twins, I really like this style. He just went forward, aggressive, just throwing for the fences. And I wouldn't mind to see him versus anesongib. I think that would be an extremely fun fight. Anesongib is a aggressive pressure fighter, and one of the racka twins is the same way. So I think that would be a fun fight. Both of them won't take it personal. They know it can help both channels, both YouTubers for their brands, and it'd be a fun fight, man. If racka versus anesongib happens, I guarantee you that'd be the best fight of the whole card. Best fight, because it would literally be a slobber knocker. Like, they would just be going at it, going ham until either one of them drops or until the bell rings. In past interviews, Vidal Riley was asked if he himself would fight on the undercard, the KSI versus Logan Paul card. I don't think that would be a good idea, because let's say if he's the opening match, let's just say if he gets hurt, he can win, and he can still suffer a broken hand. And so if he suffers a broken hand, he has to go to the hospital. He won't be able to train KSI, anesongib, and any other fighters on that card. If Harry or Ethan, I'm pretty sure he'd be training one of them. So I don't think it'd be wise for him to train. Like I said, he could win, he could knock out the other guy, but he could break a hand, or he can have a cut, where he'll have to get some medical attention. And then KSI is there well, his trainer. So I don't think Vidal should fight, even if he is the opening fight or the first fight of the card. I don't think the risk is worth it. Now to the fights that I think there is 0% chance of happening, but if they did, the first one is, FaZe Banks versus Tfue. There's a 0% chance of that happening because they're in the middle of a lawsuit. And Tfue is suing FaZe, not personally FaZe Banks. FaZe Banks, since he's a high level exec of FaZe, he takes it, pretty hard, and they have a close relationship. But again, that storyline, that's beef. I think that will be a huge fight if that was to happen. But like I said, that's a 0% chance of that happening. But hey, crazier things has happened, in the fight game. But if that was to happen, man, I would put that as the co-main event. That's how big, that fight will be. Another big fight is a commentator, or YouTube commentator, True Gordy. He commentated on the first KSI versus Joe Willer event and KSI versus Logan Paul. And people ought to see him because he's a big guy. He's like 300 plus pounds. I don't know kilos or stones, so we use pounds over here in America. But he's a big guy. Problem is, who will he fight? That dude is jacked. You can't put him against a fighter who's 250. It's too big of a weight advantage. And he seems pretty keen on just commentating and podcasting, so I don't think there'd be any need for him to fight. But if he was to fight, no pun intended, man, but that would be a huge fight. It'd be heavyweight versus heavyweight. I would also like to see some women get involved, some women YouTubers fight on this card. Fangs, who frequently does videos with Mini Mentor and some of the sidemen, she stated she wants to fight. She even did boxing, I think like late 2018, when everybody thought they was going to fight in February, whatever, or spring. So she took some classes. I think she has stopped since, but she wants to fight, so that'd be something dope, to see some women fight. JMX, who appeared on both events, the Weller and Logan Paul card, he's currently 2-0. I don't know if we will see him fight again. The thing about him is it's hard to find an opponent who's with his height. Like he towers over anybody who he fights. So either they have to stick him against somebody who's tall or very muscular. But it's all gonna be hard to find an opponent for him if JMX decides to fight again. So seeing that the KSI versus Logan Paul 2 event will be held in America, we don't know yet. We don't know what state, what city, or what season it'll be in. But it will be in America so far. I hope you can see more American YouTubers fight. Another person who I forgot to mention was Face Sensei. Again, he's so skilled. Who could you possibly have against him? So potentially so far it would be Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Face Sensei, wasabi, and again, three of those is just like guesses. There's no pinpoint. Of course, Logan is gonna fight. He's fighting KSI. Jake Paul, he hasn't pistoled in an opponent yet. But so far, like I said, those are 4 American fighters. That's off the top of my head. I think it should be more. Maybe there will be more. Once word goes around about the money involved, I think you will see a lot more American YouTubers, put their hat in. And again, we don't know when this fight will happen. I doubt it will happen in 2019 because I know KSI and Logan Paul probably wants a solid 3 months worth of training, not including media, not including press conference, or just training. And we're already in July. And even though, there's still months left, I don't see it. I can definitely see them doing it early 2020, like springtime. Hopefully I'm wrong. I would love it if it happened in October, November, or even December at the latest. But then again, that will kind of affect when do you have it. Do you have it in New York? If it's the winter time, it's going to be freezing out there. If it's in December, if it's in Cali, okay, it will be warmer. But KSI doesn't want to fight in Los Angeles because of the time difference between UK time and LA time. They could fight in New York again in December. It will be pretty cold. November. So that, again, they could always wait for spring, because spring in New York's perfect. Spring in LA is perfect. My final verdict on if and when the fight will happen, I really don't know. KSI had just off tour, so now his schedule should be open. He might be recording music here and there, but he doesn't need to take weeks off, if not months off, to do music. He needed weeks and months off to tour. He needed to set up the tour, book the buildings, and etc. For this, I think he can finally focus. I said we're currently in July. If we don't hear nothing by November, December, I think we can just forget about another YouTube boxing event. And I think that would do for today. Like I said, this is just a guessing prediction who I think will appear and should fight on the next YouTube boxing event, which is KSI versus Logan Paul 2. Drop in the comments and tell me if I'm right, if I'm wrong. Who do you guys want to see fight? And where do you guys think it should be? If it is in November, December, it's best to do in Cali, because it'll be freezing in New York or Boston. In case I wants to be on the East Coast, Philly, Boston, New York, it will be freezing in December or even November. I think Cali or even Miami will be the way to go, but we will see. And once again, follow us on Instagram, Twitter. That is Fight Lounge. Just type us up and you'll find us. This is the YouTube channel. I try to update daily content regarding UFC, boxing, Bellator, MMA, etc. And yes, even YouTube boxing. So again, I appreciate the subscription. I would appreciate a like, a comment, and even you sharing this video. And yeah, that'll do for today's episode. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.